Hello, my name is Mariana, and if you're interested in self-hosting N8n through Render, so you can have a bit more flexibility with it, so you don't have to pay the $20 or pounds or euros per month for it, then this video is right for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm really going to go through each step from creating the instance on Render to setting up the database and all the environment variables that are very important in order to make your N8n instance work properly without any errors. All that, and I'll take you through in detail on how to set that up. And the best part is that it's going to take less than 15 minutes, so stay tuned. Let's dive into it. So what I'm going to actually go through is all of this. Don't be afraid. It's not going to take that long. So the creating an account is pretty straightforward. Then you're going to set up a new web service and configure it. And then we're going to, as I said, go through the database and environment variables. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Render, and you can click on Get Started. And here, basically, you can create an account using GitHub or any GitLab or any other kind of service there. But you can also just create an account using you can just set any sort of email of yours. So then you can then set up a password. Click on Create Account. Simple so far. They will send you an activation email, and basically just click on verify your email, and you'll go through this little survey, start a new project. Okay, and then you'll be shown this plan page, but just select hobby. There's a way to adjust this later. So you can then just do select plan. And then once you're on this page, you're gonna select web service, so new web service, existing image. And what you're gonna do then is, I can copy this. You're just gonna enter this Docker URL because we're gonna use a Docker image. And then click on connect. And you can name your instance, so or name your web service, so you can name it N8n. And then you select the region that is closest to you. I'm going to do Frankfurt because I'm in the UK. And then here, as I mentioned, you can, now there's more options for you to choose, because earlier the price for the professional was $19. But here you can see you can have like a starter plan. That is actually much cheaper than 19, so it's 7. And in terms of the pricing, so you can use the free option, but the problem with that is that it's going to spin down after, I think, 15 minutes of inactivity. Yeah, 15 minutes of inactivity. Basically, that just means that if you have any webhooks or anything that's kind of live, just think of it as your N8n instance, it's sleeping and nothing's going to wake it up until you go back and activate it. So if you have any webhooks, they're not going to be kind of connected. They're not going to work. So if you're just testing out, the free web service is perfect. But if you're going to use automations and you're going to have active automations with webhooks and everything, so I would suggest to go at least with the starter, and then you can upgrade to the pro at a later point. So just for this purpose, I'm just going to use the free one, and here you can see that it's just warning you of that spin down. Environment variables, let's not worry about that now. We're going to come back to them, and then you're going to deploy web service. And once that's done, it's going to take some time to, well, a couple of minutes. Really, it's not too long, about 2 minutes to set this all up, and then we'll come back and go through the next steps. So now we are live. As you can see, it says here right at the bottom, your service is live. It took about less than 2 minutes to deploy. So the next step then after this would be to set up a database. So the reason you would need a database is for your workflows basically not to be deleted every time there's a redeployment of some sort. And basically, it's like a safer way to make sure that your workflows are saved in some sort of storage. So the way you can do this through Render is to set up like it's called a PostgreSQL database. I hope I'm saying it right. PostgreSQL database. So the way you could do it is click on the new at the top right, and there's Postgres here. So you can click on that. And you just name your database. You can name it N8n database. And then everything else, I think you just leave, let's see. Yeah, you just leave it as is, and it will randomly generate kind of the user and the database name. And here, again, let's just go for the free version at the moment, just so that we can go through it. But you can see how much kind of memory and CPU it gives you for the free. And then create database. And the way then the way that you connected to your N8n instance is basically if you go to connect here, you're going to get this URL. So if we copy that, and the way the structure of this URL works is that you can translate it into environment variables and then use those environment variables within the N8n instance to connect the two together. So then the way it would work is you let's just go here, create use this template here. So the first part of the URL is the database user, DB user. So we're going to copy that and put that here, database user. Then the next part is the password, just before the ampersand there. So from the colon to the ampersand, that's the password. So we're going to put that there. And then after the ampersand is database host. So the DPG up to there, that would be the host. So do that. Let's just bold all the things that we've got already going. And then the last one is the database name, which goes here. So let's just go copy that database name. The type is Postgres database, and the port is always going to be 5432. So even if it's not in the URL, it's 5432. So we've got all our database environment variables, and so we can then go into our N8n instance, which you can actually switch the services here. So you can toggle between the database instance and your N8n instance by clicking there. And then you're going to have your environment variables right on the left here. So all you have to do is just click on add new variable, and you enter the name of the variable, and then we can copy it from here, database type, and then you pass on the value. And then add a new one. The value. Add a new one. Value. So that's the port. And we're going to add database name, which is this. So when you do it like this, it just makes it easier to then set up in Render. And then the password is that. Then there is a few other environment variables that we want to set up as well. So let's go through those. So these are the database ones that we've done already. And now we're going to look at these 5. Some of these are done by default in render, but it's always good to kind of explicitly state them. So N8n host basically allows traffic from anywhere to access your N8n, not just internally. So any webhooks and things like that. So 0.0.0.0 means N8n can be reached from the outside world. So let's set that up. So again, just add a new one. Host 0.0.0.0. Then you got the port, which is 5678. That's always going to be 5678. And then you got, let's just do the time zone and then we'll go through the other 2. Generic time zone, so you can set your time zone, Europe, London for moi. So the next 2, the encryption key, basically any sort of API keys and any kind of sensitive information is encrypted. And basically what this does is just it provides a key for you to basically decrypt those keys and that sensitive information. So if you don't set it and it kind of resets, then there's no way for you to access those API keys. So you have to redo that. And kind of a good way to come up with a key is you can either have like a hex or a base 64 one. And the way you can set those up is through your terminal. Let's just go with the base 64 and just copy paste this command. And if you press enter, you're going to get a really long string. And that's what you can set as your encryption key. All you have to do is, let's just set the key there and then go back and get the variable name, which is encryption key. So that will be my encryption key and it will always be that. And the last one would be your webhook URL. And the reason you want to set this is because if you don't, it's going to be a local URL and it's not going to be accessible from kind of the outside world. So you won't be able to use those local URLs. And so what you put there is your app name, so whatever that is, .onrender.com. So your app name is basically going to be right here. So that would be, my app name is N8n-PNZR. I can just copy this line. Let's just copy the line. Make life easier. So then all your webhook URLs will then start with this, and this can be accessed from anywhere. All you have to do is save and deploy, and then you're good to go. So what we've done then is we've set up all of the database environment variables, which connects your N8n instance with the database that you created. You then set up some basic kind of information with the host and the port and the time zone. Then you set up an encryption key so that your API keys and other sensitive information will always be available or always be decryptable. And then you set up a webhook URL so that your webhooks work, essentially. And that's it. Your instance is now ready. So now the last thing is to set up your N8n account. So the way you can access it is through this link here. So if you click on it, then you'll be greeted with this lovely sign up screen. can set our nice email. And any password. When you click on next, you shall be greeted with yet another questionnaire/survey. So you can just fill it out quickly. And then here, what basically you should do, and I've done this, so I'm going to skip this step, is just enter your email address to get the license key, so you get kind of access to full advanced feature set. So I've done it already, so you can just skip it. Basically, they'll send you an email with a link. Click that link, and it will activate it. And here we go. You got your own N8n instance backed up with a database and an encryption key and webhook URL that works. And yeah, you can just start creating your workflows right away. It's really, really simple. It's just understanding, the fact that you do need a database and you do need to set up certain environment variables to make it work. And I hope that was clear, and I hope you got some value out of it. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button to support this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.